No anesthesia, no antiseptic, no sterile needles wrapped in plastic. Just a sharpened bone, or a thorn, or a piece of obsidian. A small bowl of soot mixed with ash or fat, and another human being holding you still while they puncture your skin, over and over, sometimes for hours, sometimes spread out across days. It hurts the entire time. There is a real chance of infection. There is no guarantee it even heals right. And somewhere on this planet, completely cut off from anyone on a different continent, a person did this to their own body anyway, not once, not as some isolated accident, over and over, in dozens of unconnected cultures, for thousands of years, long before any of them could have known the others existed. So here is the actual question, not who invented tattoos. That is the wrong question. The real question is this: why did so many separate, disconnected groups of ancient humans, with zero contact, no shared language, no way of comparing notes, all land on the exact same idea? Puncture the skin, trap pigment underneath it, make a mark that outlives the wound. Sometimes outlives you. That is not one invention. That is the same idea, discovered again and again, like it was already sitting there in human nature, waiting to be found. Let's go. Start with the part that should be impossible. In 1991, hikers in the Italian Alps found a body sticking out of melting ice. They called him Ötzi after the valley. He had been dead for roughly 5,300 years, frozen the entire time. When scientists finally looked closely at his skin, they found 61 tattoos, not pictures, just lines, and small crosses, made by cutting tiny incisions and rubbing soot directly into the wound. The oldest tattooed human body ever discovered. For a long time, that was the headline. Except here is where it gets strange. Around the same time Ötzi was dying in the Alps, on a completely different landmass, two bodies were being buried in the sands of pre-dynastic Egypt. They are called the Gbeline mummies. For over a century, nobody noticed anything unusual. The desert had preserved their skin into faint, leathery smudges. Then, in 2018, researchers used infrared imaging and found tattoos. A wild bull and a Barbary sheep, inked into the male mummy's arm. The oldest pictorial tattoo ever found. An actual image, not just a mark, a row of S-shaped symbols on the female mummy's shoulder. The oldest tattooed woman ever discovered anywhere in the world. Two people, two continents, no contact, no trade, no idea the other existed, both walking around with permanent ink in their skin at almost exactly the same point in history. That should stop you for a second. This was not one culture's idea spreading outward. This was multiple groups of humans, independently, arriving at the same conclusion. Why would that occur to more than one group of people who had no way of telling each other about it? One answer is that it was never really about decoration, not at first. Look at where Ötzi's tattoos actually are. Not random, his lower back, his knees, his ankles, his wrists. Exactly the joints where his bones showed wear and degeneration. Several of those points line up with places still used in acupuncture today. Not that Ötzi understood acupuncture, but that some ancient societies may have stumbled onto the same principle, independently. Puncture specific points, relieve pain. Mark the points that worked. If that is true, the earliest tattoos on record were not art. They were medicine. The first permanent prescription. Written directly into the patient. But medicine was clearly not the only reason. Because the moment you look at other ancient tattooed bodies, the purpose changes completely. Take Amunet, a priestess of the goddess Hathor, Egypt, roughly 2100 BC. Her arms, thighs, and lower abdomen covered in tattooed dots and lines. For decades, archaeologists assumed this meant she had been a prostitute, because that fit their assumptions, not the evidence. Hathor was not just a goddess of love. She was the goddess women turned to for safe childbirth, one of the most dangerous events a person could survive in the ancient world. The dots on Amunet's abdomen would have stretched as her belly grew, a grid of dots, slowly turning into something that looked like a net. In Egyptian belief, nets trapped evil spirits, so the tattoo was not decoration. It was not a mark of shame. It was portable, permanent protection, designed to activate exactly when she needed it most. You could not lose it. You could not leave it behind. It traveled with the body it was meant to protect. Now travel forward a few thousand years, and sideways, to the other side of the world. The purpose shifts again. In the South Pacific, among the Tahitian and Samoan peoples, tattooing was not medicine. It was not a private charm. It was public record keeping. The word tattoo itself comes from this tradition, from the word tatau, first written down in English in 1769 by a naturalist sailing with Captain James Cook. He watched Tahitians being tattooed and wrote that each person was marked by their humor or disposition, meaning the tattoo described who that person actually was. In Polynesian society, tattoos recorded genealogy, rank, accomplishments, status. They could not be faked, could not be inherited dishonestly, could not be bought. The only way to get one was to earn it, and to endure the process. The pain itself was the proof. A warrior with extensive tattoos was a warrior who had already shown, on his own body, that he could withstand what the rank demanded. Among the Maori of New Zealand, this went even further. Ta moko, skin carved with small chisels, not punctured with needles. Grooves instead of flat ink. So unique, so individual, that colonial authorities later used facial moko the way we use a signature. No two were alike. No one could replicate someone else's. In a world with no photographs, the body itself was the document. You could not lie about who you were. The proof was carved into your face. Travel again, north into the frozen steppes of Siberia. A third version of the same idea, layered together. In 1993, archaeologists opened a frozen burial mound on the Ukok Plateau. Inside, a young woman, Pazyryk culture, roughly 2,500 years old. The cold had preserved her so well that her tattoos were still visibly blue. A creature with a griffin's beak, a deer's antlers branching into floral shapes, elaborate, deliberate. Clearly the work of a skilled hand. They call her the Siberian Ice Maiden. She was not alone. A separate burial held a man, likely a chief. Small circular tattoos clustered near his spine. The same therapeutic pattern researchers suspect in Utsi. Thousands of kilometers and centuries removed. In one culture, both purposes, in two different bodies. Pain relief, tattooed onto a chief's aching back. Mythical art, tattooed onto a young woman's skin. Possibly to mark her status. Possibly to carry her identity into whatever came after death. Possibly so that whatever waited for her in the next world would recognize who she had been in this one. Now, let's be honest about something, because this video would be incomplete without it. Tattooing was not always a badge of honor. In some ancient cultures, the exact same technology meant the exact opposite thing. Around the 6th century BC, the Greeks learned tattooing from the Persians, who used it to mark prisoners and subordinates by force. The Greeks took the idea further. They began tattooing slaves, criminals, prisoners of war, usually on the forehead. Where the mark could never be hidden, they had a word for it: stigma. When Athens defeated Samos, Athenian soldiers tattooed their Samian prisoners with the symbol of Athens, an owl, branding enemies with the emblem of the people who had beaten them. When Samos later won a battle, they returned the favor, tattooed their Athenian captives with a Samian warship. The Romans inherited the practice and expanded it. Slaves who tried to escape were sometimes tattooed with a direct warning. Words like, "Stop me, I am a runaway," permanently written across their skin. Roman law eventually went further. A law from the 4th century AD declared that a slave once tattooed as punishment could never become a full citizen, even after being freed. The mark outlived the enslavement. It outlived the punishment. It became a permanent downgrade, stitched into someone's legal identity for the rest of their life. Sit with that contrast for a second, because it is the whole story in miniature. In Polynesia, a tattoo was something you earned, a record of status that nobody could take from you. In Rome and Greece, a tattoo was something inflicted on you, a record of subjugation you could never remove. Same act, same basic technology, ink, driven permanently under skin. Completely opposite meaning, depending entirely on who was holding the needle, and who was deciding what the mark would say. That is the real insight buried in all of this. A tattoo was never really about the ink. It was about who controlled the story written into your body, and whether that story belonged to you or to someone else. And that brings us to the actual answer. Why did ancient humans, completely independently, in the Alps, in Egypt, in Polynesia, in Siberia, in cultures that never once made contact, all arrive at the same idea? Mark your own skin, permanently. Because skin is the one thing a human being can never lose, never leave behind in a burned village, never have stolen by a rival, never forget in a place they cannot return to. Houses burn, possessions get taken, memories fade, stories get retold wrong, but a mark cut into your own body travels with you for as long as you are alive. And in cultures that believed in some kind of afterlife. Sometimes after that too. Ancient humans, across every continent, independently figured out the same thing. If you want something about yourself to survive everything else, you do not write it on a wall that might get destroyed. You put it directly into the one thing you will never, under any circumstance, put down. Pain relief, written into the joints of an aging body. Protective magic, written into the belly of a pregnant woman. Genealogy and rank, written into the face of a Polynesian chief. Status and identity, written into the arm of a Siberian noblewoman. Even punishment and ownership, written by force into the forehead of a Roman slave. All of it, the same fundamental discovery, made over and over, by people who never spoke to each other. Your body is the one ledger that can never be erased. So the next time you watch someone wince through a tattoo session, under bright studio lights, with numbing cream and a disposable needle, remember what they are actually doing, in a far safer, far less mysterious version. They are repeating something humans have done for at least 5,300 years, possibly much longer than we will ever be able to prove, using deliberate pain, on purpose, to make absolutely sure that something true about who they are will still exist, long after everything else about this exact moment is gone.